All right, folks, we got one more for you to give a warm welcome to Kian Gonzalez.
So back before I cut my hair, I had it down to my waist, and I once got in an elevator with an older gentleman, and he saw me, and he said, "Hey, nice hair, man. I used to have my hair down to my ankles." And I said, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And he goes on to say, "Yeah, when I was young, I was in gangs, and I used to get in street fights, and I used this martial art where you tie a lead ball to the end of your hair and swing it around and hit people with it." And I was like, "Oh, wow." But in the inside, I was screaming, like, "Get me the fuck out of here!" You know, mashing the elevator button, hoping that it was somehow going to make the elevator go faster. Fortunately, I was able to leave without any kind of problems. But after I did, I started thinking of a lot of questions for this man that didn't pop up right away in my head when I was still in the elevator with him. The first question being, why? Why of all things? Why a lead ball attached to the end of your hair? Were brass knuckles too mainstream? Well, I don't know. Maybe he's a hipster gangster. Maybe instead of sagging his pants below his butt, he lifts them up over his belly button with suspenders. My second question was, okay, so you've decided you really want to use this stupid lead ball as a weapon instead of, something more practical like brass knuckles or a knife. The second question is, wouldn't it be easier to use a rope? Like, okay, you can't just be walking around with this thing attached to the end of your hair all the time. So that means each time you're going to get in a fight with someone, you have to put the ball on, and then once you're done, you have to take it off. And it's just not going to work. Like, you can't come up to a rival gang and be all like, he's going to tell you, "Square up, nigga," and you're going to be like, "Wait, hold on, give me a second." Okay, now I'm ready. And plus, wouldn't that tear the hell out of your hair? Like, in order for that ball to do any kind of damage, it needs to have a good amount of mass to it. And there's no way that your hair can support that much weight just being swung around like that. I don't care how much Maybelline you use. And then once the hair rips, you're defenseless. You lose your weapon. In fact, I wouldn't even wait until his hair rips. What I would do, if I were in a rival gang, I would send an underling to spy on him and see which salon he goes to. Because even though you're growing out your hair, you still need to cut the tips so that you don't get split ends. So once you find out who his barber is, you send the underling and you give him a message. Imagine for a sec that I'm the underling having a conversation with this barber. So he walks in, he's like, "Hey, I hear you cut long hair Larry's hair." I don't know what kind of fucking accent this is, but I'm doing it anyway. So, and the barber's like, "Yeah, what of it?" "Well, let's just say that if long hair Larry had an accident while getting his hair cut and were to lose all of his hair, you might find yourself financially compensated." And Barber says, "What? I couldn't do that. He's been a loyal client of mine ever since he's been growing out his hair." And the monster goes, "And that's why you'll do it. Because you'll never see it coming. And you will if you value your kneecaps." And now the barber knows that it's serious and he nervously gulps. Okay. So now long hair Larry walks into the next appointment he has with his barber. Unbeknownst to him, what is about to happen? He just walks in and says, "Give me the usual, fam," and he sits down. And the barber, he's sweating because he knows what he has to do, but he doesn't want to do it. But he takes that hair and with a swift snip of his scissors, just cuts everything off, and 5 feet of hair just falls to the ground. And now long hair Larry, like Samson, just loses all of his power in an instant. And long hair Larry goes, "No! What have you done?" And he loses all of his gains like a bodybuilder whose protein shake was just replaced with estrogen. But, if he just used a rope, now it wouldn't matter, would it? My next question was, how the hell would you conceal that? Where are you going to put it? You're just going to stick it into your pocket? It's going to stick out really bad. Like, you can't just walk past a cop with that ball sticking out of your pocket and expect to be inconspicuous about it. That cop may not know exactly what it is, but I bet your ass he's gonna be mighty fucking suspicious about it. The only way that you'll be able to avoid getting searched in that kind of situation is if you have 2 balls in your pants, because then you can pass them off as your regular balls, and now if the cop tries to search you, that makes him gay. "I got eyes on a suspect potentially carrying a weapon. I'm gonna conduct a search. Over. Can you describe the weapon? Over. He's got huge balls. Over." Sorry, come again, over. Suspect has 2 large balls sticking out of his pants and need to find out what they are, over. You want to search this guy's balls? What are you, gay? Over? No, you don't understand. These things are too big to be his balls. There gotta be grenades or something, over. So what are you gonna do? Search that guy's grenades like you search that guy's gun? Captain Gun Dick, over. Oh, one time I confused a guy's dick for a gun. You know what? Fuck it. Forget this guy's balls. Over. So the next question that I had for this guy was, were the rival gangs just cool with letting this guy bring this shit into a fucking fight? Now, I don't know anything about gangs or street fights, but I would imagine that a street fight is when 2 rival gangs agree on a time and a place to duke it out, to settle things in a fair fight. So there has to be some kind of code of honor or some kind of rules involved in this, right? But the way that this guy told me about this kind of implied that anything goes. Like, you can just bring whatever weapon you want. And I really don't think that you can have a fair fight if people are allowed to bring whatever they want as long as it's not a gun. Because there's a lot of leeway in that rule right there. Now, if I had to get into a street fight and the rule was bring whatever weapon you want as long as it's not a gun, then I don't know about you, but I bring a fucking crossbow. And I assure you that shit's not gonna fly with the rival gang. When I show up with my crossbow and all the other guys brought butterfly knives, they're gonna be like, yeah, we gotta double think this rule. And they're gonna revise the rule and they're gonna say, okay, bring any weapon you want as long as it doesn't shoot projectiles. And I'll be like, okay, that's cool. And I'm gonna come back with a box of grenades. Once again, I assure you that's not gonna fly with the rival gang. So then they're gonna have to revise the rule again and be like, okay. Bring any weapon you want as long as it doesn't shoot projectiles and they're not explosives. And be like, okay, that's cool. And then I'm gonna come back with a fucking halberd. And now they're gonna have to revise the rule again. They're gonna be like, okay. Bring any weapon you want as long as it doesn't fire projectiles, it's not an explosive, and it's not a polearm. But see, I can come up with more shit. I know a lot of weapons. There's just absolutely no way that you can make a fair fight if there's weapons involved. If you really wanted to give people the liberty of just bringing whatever weapon they want, but still keeping it fair, they would have to write a rule book like this thick. And I assure you that these people don't go at the time for that. Because we're talking about people who dropped out of high school to sling dope. I assure you that these people do not have the time to be talking about the rules of the weapons that you can and can't bring to a street fight. Like, if somebody brings a fucking Kusirigama, they're not gonna be like, hey, you can't use that weapon here. The only bladed weapons allowed are knives. And then another guy's gonna be looking in the rule book and he's gonna be like, well, it doesn't strictly prohibit things that aren't knives. It just says that the blade can't be longer than 6 inches because then it's gonna be considered a sword. So then the other guy's gonna be like, okay, well, how long's the blade? So then they take out a fucking measuring tape and they measure the blade and they're like, 5.5 inches. Damn it! I should have just brought my Morning Star. God damn it. Flails aren't allowed either. Anyways, what was I talking about again? Oh, the crazy guy with the lead ball. Yeah. Stupid weapon. It's a stupid weapon. Alright, guys. Thanks for having me here. I'll be here all week. And don't forget to visit the links in the description to see my music and buy merch from my store. And I'll see you around next time.
Damn, who the hell's a motherfucker down the street? Oh shit, that's me, and I'm about to make like my bitch. They know what's stopping this one-man war machine. Two in the head, one in the chest, fucking clean.
Alright guys, well thanks for having me here. I'll be all week.